This story is titled, My Neighbor Kept Stealing My Packages, so I set a trap that left him completely humiliated. Hi, my name is Jenna. I'm 32 years old, and I live in a quiet little suburb that I used to think was the perfect neighborhood, until my packages started going missing. At first, I thought it was a mistake. I mean, who would steal someone's deliveries? But then it kept happening, and I quickly realized it wasn't just bad luck. Someone was deliberately taking them. Now, let me back up a little and set the stage. I'd been living in my house for about 4 years, and for the most part, the neighborhood was pretty peaceful. Everyone minded their own business, waved at each other in passing, and kept their lawns perfectly manicured. It was the kind of place where you'd expect to feel safe and secure. That's why it was so shocking when the package thefts began. It started small, an Amazon box here, a delivery there. I didn't think much of it at first, especially since some of the packages were just everyday items like shampoo or socks. I figured maybe the delivery driver had dropped them off at the wrong house, or they'd gotten lost in transit. But then, the missing packages became more frequent. The breaking point came when I ordered an expensive pair of headphones I'd been saving up for. I was so excited when I got the notification that they'd been delivered. But when I got home from work, there was no package to be found. That's when I knew something fishy was going on. At first, I didn't want to jump to conclusions. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was an innocent mistake. Maybe someone thought the package was theirs. But deep down, I knew this wasn't just bad luck. Someone was stealing from me, and it wasn't just about the things I'd lost. It was about the principle. I filed a report with the delivery company, but they couldn't do much. They apologized and said they'd investigate, but I didn't have high hopes. I also called the police, but they told me there wasn't much they could do without evidence. So I decided to take matters into my own hands. That's when I got the idea to install a security camera. I bought a basic doorbell camera, set it up, and waited. I was determined to catch whoever was behind this. A few days later, my patience paid off. I came home to find yet another package missing. Furious, I checked the camera footage, and there it was. Clear as day, my neighbor Todd, casually walking up to my porch, grabbing my package, and walking away like it was no big deal. Todd lived 2 doors down from me. He was one of those neighbors who always seemed a little too nosy, always peeking over fences and making awkward small talk. But I never imagined he'd stoop this low. I was fuming. How dare he steal from me? I wanted to march over there and confront him right away, but I knew I needed a plan. I didn't just want him to stop. I wanted to teach him a lesson he wouldn't forget. That's when the idea hit me. If Todd wanted to steal my packages, I'd give him exactly what he wanted. Only this time, it wouldn't be what he expected. The plan was simple, but brilliant. I decided to set a trap, a fake package that would humiliate Todd and make him think twice before stealing from anyone again. First, I needed a decoy package. I grabbed an old Amazon box and filled it with some things I knew would be unpleasant. I won't go into too much detail, but let's just say I included a mix of glitter, a spring-loaded confetti popper, and a stink bomb packet. The goal was to create a messy, smelly, and thoroughly humiliating experience for anyone who opened it. Next, I carefully sealed the box and wrote a fake label on it. I made sure it looked just like a real delivery, complete with a barcode and everything. Then I placed it on my porch in plain sight, right where Todd would see it. Now all I had to do was wait. It didn't take long. The very next day, I got an alert from my doorbell camera. Sure enough, there was Todd, sneaking up to my porch like a kid trying to steal cookies from a jar. He grabbed the package and hurried off, looking around to make sure no one was watching. I couldn't help but smirk as I watched the footage. Little did he know, he was about to get the surprise of his life. I didn't have to wait long to find out what happened next. About 15 minutes later, I heard a loud commotion coming from Todd's house. There was yelling, followed by what sounded like someone storming out the front door. I checked my camera footage again and saw Todd covered in glitter and looking absolutely furious. It was perfect. The stink bomb must have gone off too, because I saw him sniffing his shirt and gagging as he tried to brush off the glitter. I couldn't stop laughing. It was the exact reaction I'd hoped for. But I wasn't done yet. I wanted to make sure Todd knew he'd been caught red-handed, and that there would be consequences if he ever tried this again. So, I printed out a screenshot of the camera footage showing him stealing the package and slipped it into his mailbox with a note that said, "Smile. You're on camera." Next time, I'm calling the cops. For a few days, I didn't see much of Todd. He kept a low profile, probably embarrassed about what had happened. But then, something unexpected happened. A few days later, there was a knock at my door. I opened it to find Todd standing there, looking sheepish and awkward. He was holding a box of cookies, which he offered as a sort of peace offering. "Hey, Jenna," he said, avoiding eye contact. "I wanted to apologize for, taking your packages. It was wrong, and I'm really sorry." I was stunned. I hadn't expected him to admit to it, let alone apologize. For a split second, I felt a twinge of pity for him. But then I remembered all the frustration and anger he'd caused me, not to mention the money I'd lost. "Why'd you do it, Todd?" I asked, crossing my arms. "Why steal from me? I trusted you as my neighbor." He sighed and looked down at his shoes. "I don't know," he mumbled. "I guess I just got greedy. Times are tough, and I saw an opportunity. It doesn't make it right, though. I really am sorry." I appreciated his apology, but I wasn't about to let him off the hook that easily. "Todd, you didn't just take things from me," I said, my voice firm. "You violated my trust. And let's not pretend this was a one-time thing. You've been doing this for weeks." He nodded, looking genuinely ashamed. "I know," he said. "I messed up. I'll do whatever it takes to make it right." I thought about it for a moment. Part of me wanted to just slam the door in his face and be done with it. But another part of me saw this as an opportunity to turn things around. Not just for me, but for the whole neighborhood. "Here's the deal," I said. "First, you're going to pay me back for everything you stole. I've got receipts for most of it, so I'll send you the total. Second, you're going to apologize to the rest of the neighborhood. I'm not the only one you've stolen from, am I?" Todd hesitated, but then he shook his head. "No," he admitted, "you're not." "Exactly," I said. "You're going to own up to what you did and make things right with everyone. And if you don't, I'll take this footage to the police." He swallowed hard and nodded. "Okay," he said. "I'll do it." True to his word, Todd started making amends. He paid me back for the stolen items, though it took him a few weeks to come up with the money. He also went door to door in the neighborhood, apologizing to everyone he'd wronged. Some of my neighbors were more forgiving than others, but overall, people seemed to appreciate his effort to make things right. And to be honest, I was glad to see him taking responsibility for his actions. But just when I thought the drama was over, another twist came out of nowhere. One afternoon, I was chatting with one of my neighbors, Mrs. Carter, an elderly woman who lived across the street. She mentioned that Todd had been helping her with errands lately, buying groceries, mowing her lawn, and even fixing a leaky faucet. "He's been such a nice young man," she said with a smile. "I know he made some mistakes, but I think he's trying to turn over a new leaf." At first, I was skeptical. Was Todd really changing, or was this just an act to get back into everyone's good graces? I wasn't sure, but I decided to give him the benefit of the doubt. Then came the day that really tested Todd's character. One morning, I noticed a suspicious car parked near my house. It was an old, beat-up sedan with tinted windows, and it didn't belong to anyone I recognized. The car stayed there for hours, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Later that afternoon, I saw the driver get out of the car and start walking toward Mrs. Carter's house. He was carrying a package under his arm, but it didn't look like a normal delivery. It looked like he was trying to hide it. I quickly pulled out my phone and started recording, just in case. The man knocked on Mrs. Carter's door, but when no one answered, he turned and started walking back to his car. That's when Todd came out of nowhere. "Hey!" Todd shouted, running up to the man. "What do you think you're doing?" The man froze, looking startled. Nothing," he stammered. "Just delivering a package." "Really?" Todd said, crossing his arms. "Because I've been watching you sit in that car for hours, and that doesn't look like a package. It looks like you're stealing something." The man muttered something under his breath and tried to walk away, but Todd wasn't having it. He grabbed the package and held it up, showing that it was clearly an old box that had been opened and taped back together. "Get out of here," Todd said, glaring at the man. "And don't come back." The man got in his car and sped off, and Todd immediately called the police to report what had happened. When the police arrived, Todd handed over the package and explained everything. The officers praised him for his vigilance and told him they'd keep an eye out for the suspicious car in the area. Mrs. Carter, who had been inside the house during the incident, was shaken but grateful. "Todd, I don't know what I would have done if he'd tried to break in," she said, her voice trembling. "You don't need to worry about that," Todd said, patting her shoulder reassuringly. I've got your back. Watching the scene unfold, I felt an odd mix of emotions. Todd, the same neighbor who had stolen from me just weeks ago, was now playing the role of a hero. It was almost surreal. But as much as I wanted to cling to my lingering resentment, I couldn't deny that he seemed to be making an effort to turn his life around. And maybe, just maybe, he'd learned something from the ordeal. In the months that followed, Todd continued to make amends. He started volunteering at the local community center, helping organize events and assist families in need. He even set up a neighborhood watch program to prevent further thefts, earning back some of the trust he had lost. As for me, I moved on from the incident, though I remained cautious. I upgraded my home security system and made it a habit to have packages delivered to a secure pickup location. The experience had taught me to be more vigilant, but it also taught me something else. People are capable of change, even if it takes hitting rock bottom to get there. One day, Todd approached me while I was working in my garden. "Hey, Jenna," he said, looking a little nervous. "I just wanted to thank you for holding me accountable. I know I didn't deserve your forgiveness, but it meant a lot." I looked at him for a moment, trying to gauge his sincerity. "Well, Todd," I said, "you earned it. Actions speak louder than words, and you've proven that you're willing to do the work." He nodded, smiling faintly. "I'll keep trying," he said. So what's the moral of this story? Sometimes the people who wrong us can surprise us in the end. While not everyone deserves a second chance, there are those who will take that chance and use it to grow. To anyone out there dealing with a similar situation, I'd say this: trust your instincts, set boundaries, and stand up for yourself. But also, don't be afraid to let people show you they've changed. Thank you for watching my story. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this one. Until next time.